I was a little girl who was scared and ashamed, but God brought someone into my life to speak life into me. And now I'm changed forever, and I'm a child of God. My name is Christine Mullins, and I'm the Community Relations Coordinator at New Braunfels Christian Ministries. Our mission statement is to share the love of Christ by investing in people. And it's there to strengthen our community. It's a resource for underprivileged families that need, whether it's insurance or if they need a little bit of extra help with families and students. That's what New Braunfels Christian Ministry does. I was a kid from hard place. And so growing up, my life was very confusing and very difficult. When I was about 2 years old, my parents divorced, and my mom, in that moment, made some not very good decisions, and she ended up marrying a man that was very abusive. Growing up in our house, it was very scary. There'd be times, because he'd work out of state, and then he'd come back. So for those times that he was gone, even in that, the fear was very heavy on the home. And as a very young child, I felt how I needed to help my mom. I felt this pressure to be able to always do things right, to do things very well. When he would come back, when I was about 6 years old, the abuse started to focus on me. And our house was just wild. There was times, you'll remember when you're a kid and you're from a hard place, food is a big deal. And there was many times that I was in school, and I would get to school as a very young kid, and I kept falling asleep. And one of my teachers called the nurse. She said, "You just need to go to the nurse." And she was the kindest nurse ever. And she had this little mini fridge, and she pulled out little peanut butter that was cold, and she put it on crackers. And I remember as a kid, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing I've ever had, peanut butter on crackers, you know. And she fed me. Just in that one moment, she fed me. And I was able to go back to class and focus. And I was a mess as a kid. My hair was a mess. I know I smelled bad. It was just a mess. And anytime that teacher would come by, I would cram my work. I didn't take it home. As far as my mom knew, everything was great. It was great. I needed to maintain. And then one day, the teacher, she pulled everything out of my desk, and she had put it in a big sack, H-E-B sack or a grocery store sack, the old paper kind, and it was filled to the very top with garbage that she had pulled out of my desk. And I was so embarrassed because I thought, I am just so worthless. And I have failed so bad, so miserably. But this little Sunday school teacher, she started to pour into my life. And she asked my mom one day, she said, can I take her to lunch? Can I take her? And my mom's like, sure, please. And I remember she took me out to lunch, and we went to her house, and she had 2 older daughters, and they kept giving me marshmallows, going back to the food. And that's what you remember as a kid, is like, I had marshmallows, like that. It was a treasure to me, a marshmallow. But she saw value in me, and she poured out into me, and that little moment is frozen in time for me, because one person saw me as the burden that I was. I was a burden to her, and the other saw me as a blessing. And you don't know how much a difference one moment can make in the life of somebody. Because whether they look like, a mess like me, or their hair's all fixed and they look great, taking that time to say, you matter, you're important. So I'm grateful for that Sunday school teacher and what she did for me, and listening to the Lord in that moment, showing this little girl that she matters, changed my life.